up, everybody? This is the Nerd Cave News. And this week in gaming, Bungie sacked 17% of its staff. Xbox murders the 360 marketplace, and Twitch actually might be a zombie.
It's funny. We got 2 murders and a undead.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, this is the Nerd Cave News. I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined by deep within the misty forests of Northwest America. Legends speak of a cryptid with bat wings, a wolf's body, and lizard scales. It silently prowls in the darkness, its piercing eyes hunting. Locals whisper that it guards the ancient woods, protecting the land. Few have seen it and lived, but those who have described it as eerie, a supernatural presence that leaves the forest silent in its wake. This creature is none other than Nightshade.
That's edgy. I love it, actually. And I like how you morph it like a homunculus, from Full Metal Alchemist, or like some weird creation from Overlord, so.
Yeah.
It's like I'm the baby goat over here.
That too. So the question is, Nightshade, where does this rank on the list of names?
Oh, so, back in the day, I used to just give Amy like top 5s all the time, top 3s. I do want to be a little bit more stingy with the top. Like I want to make, I feel like there was a time last year where I was just giving like top 5s, top 3s. And then I'd look back and be like, I don't know if these names deserve to be up that high, but
there was some, I was like, I don't know. I was like, this is Derek's list, but you were just giving them out left and right,
But I say this to say it's going to have to be in the top 5.
Oh,
it's going to be the new number 4, bumping down Aurelius Thorn.
There you go. Amy was like, I was in a cryptid mood.
Yeah.
There you go. Well,
I hope I had her on the ropes too. She's just like, Derek, don't you do me dirty again. Don't you do me dirty again.
Well, John Stevenson, we're glad that you're here tonight. There
you go.
Nightshade, known as John Stevenson. He is a shape-shifting homunculus that hides as a CPA. If you don't know what we're talking about, go watch Full Metal Alchemist and you'll know. But guys, this episode is brought to you by the Epic Game Store, where you can support us by using creator code NerdCave at checkout, and our wonderful patrons, but more about that later. He was like, I wasn't sure where you were going.
I'll say, it's like, is he going to put it under the top 10? Is he going to put it just above John Stevenson, or is he going to make it top 5? Well, you guessed on, if it was the latter, you guessed right.
Yeah. You kind of got to play with emotions a little bit. That's how a good show is made.
Mm-hmm.
Nightshade. That's how a good show is made. Before we get into the gaming discussion, we do each and every week a little segment called What You Playing? Derek, what you playing?
So I'm probably going to take a break from it for a while, but I've been, I finished my Road to Glory shtick for NCAA. I do have a complaint, my first major complaint.
Okay.
I wonder if the old committee from the BCS days was, got involved in this game, because your boy finished undefeated season, won the conference championship, made it to the playoffs. Tell me how, because I'm in the Big Ten. I'm Northwestern. Tell me how I beat Ohio State. They have 2 losses, and they were ranked number 1. I was ranked number 2. Come playoff time. Tell me how, and I beat them. Did I beat them in the conference championship? I know I beat them regular season, but anyway, no, I didn't. It wasn't conference championship, but still, I beat them. They have 2 losses, and it's just like, what BCS bull crap is this? Like, that's some old, it's like, they got 5 losses. We're still going to rank them. You know what I mean? Like, put them in there. Like, looking at you, Auburn, from whenever year that was.
They still do that in the new system too. Like,
not as bad. Not like that asinine stuff, man. Like,
well, even though I don't like FSU,
yeah,
still snubbed them pretty bad last year. So
true. So, but I took that, like how the Michael Jordan documentary, and I took that personally. So I met him again in the playoff because this year they're expanding it to 12 teams. So I met him again in the playoff, whooped him. I think I whooped him worse than when I did in the regular season, and went on to win the championship. So I made a statement. So and they ended up ranking me number 1 after I won the championship. I'm like, that's right. If I see Ohio State up there again, I'm going to come for you.
Well, you are number 1 at that point.
Right.
But congrats, man. I started a road to glory last week. I created a quarterback and I am enjoying it way more than Dynasty mode.
Good.
It just feels a little bit cleaner, a little bit more streamlined and everything, which is totally fine.
Well, and it's easier too, like for, because all you got to do is play the offensive drive, and then just like it simulates the rest of the minutia you don't want to go through.
Exactly. So I like that. And I sent a picture to you. I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, you didn't even respond. So there you go. Derek and his bad texting etiquette.
Oh yeah, all mine. And it's what's funny is it looks like the hairstyle is the same that I chose for my quarterback too.
Yeah, this is my number 15. You know who also wore number 15? Yeah, exactly. So All Might
is worthy.
He's worthy. He's like 7 foot, 204 pounds. He's
Good
pretty
Lord.
lean. He's lean.
Yeah.
But like using the improvisation. Yeah, the improver as my improviser. There we go. My gosh, I can talk, y'all. So that was the one that I picked. And playing for Troy. I went with Troy.
Yeah.
Which it was cool to see the stadium. They did mention the Big T, which was cool. I haven't been to a game since like homecoming after I graduated.
Yeah.
So that was 2012. No, 2012.
Oh yeah, never mind. We came in.
Yeah, 2008. 2012 was the last time I've been in the stadium. No, I went with the band in 2015, but they still hadn't built out
they didn't close off the end zone.
They hadn't closed it off yet.
Yeah.
So seeing that, which I've seen before, in pictures, but I know when we were there, they had the big helmet that they would run through. Right. Now they have like pylons that like shoot stuff out and all of that. Yeah. I'm assuming this is what it looks like. But Derek, can I tell you this?
Yeah.
The band uniforms, like, y'all were just slopping stuff together. Y'all were just like generic band uniform. Here, the team colors. We'll put that on the band.
Well, what I was gonna say. They let for the football players, they let AI generate 11,000 faces. They probably generated the band uniforms too.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we'll have 2 colors, and then the 2 primary colors of whatever the school is.
Right.
It was just like, okay, this is ridiculous. But I will say, as I was playing as Troy, they did play a song that we played at Troy. They played Neck.
Oh,
I was like, awesome. All right. I was like, all right. I was like, let's go. Let's go.
Better than that overplayed one by Mo Bamba, whatever it is that they played for like third down or whatever it is. Like, I don't know if you played enough to hear it.
That one.
No. Not just like in the game. Like it's just like across like any team you play with. But apparently it's like the most played when you're at home with Penn State.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah,
I was playing against Memphis, and they would play like, it's some like orchestral, like something, like big, It's like, oh, it's third down. Oh, here we go again. Get to
Right.
hear it again. But yeah, so that was cool to hear, Nick.
Yeah.
But
As the best memory was when we were playing that pregame at South Carolina, and because the South Carolina football team was on our side of the field,
mhm.
and the guy we caught one of the receivers jamming out to play, and I'm just like, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying that a lot more. I do want to go back and play more Dynasty. I did play online as well. Me
Good.
and my coworker Nick, we played 2 games. Everything worked really seamlessly for the first game.
Good.
Second game got almost all the way through, and then we had a desync error and it killed the game.
Oh,
And it was
dang.
just like, we are playing crossplay, so I don't know if
Right.
that's part of it or whatever, but that
Maybe.
was that was kind of sucky. Because first game we played Florida against FSU, which he's an
Mhm.
FSU fan, and then we did even teams, and I picked Troy and he picked Hawaii.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so,
Interesting.
yeah, he just likes their stadium or whatever.
Fair.
Um, which the Rainbow Warriors. I did
Yeah.
a whole dynasty with him back in one of the old games.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like me knowing more of the Troy playbook because I did a little bit of
Oh, wait. Whoa, 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 whoa. Time out. Time out. Time out. You used a playbook other than Florida?
well, like Road to Glory, you have to use the playbook of the
Oh,
actual
that's true.
school and everything. So, like having a few games under my belt with Road to Glory was like,
Yeah.
oh, I know like who the receivers are that are
Mhm.
good and all of that. And it was a much better game for me than the Florida FSU one. I held him for a while, and then
Yeah.
me and defense, Derek, it's just not my
Yeah.
my thing.
Well, and, I was going to be like, let me be that uncultured dad when his son's playing. Are you winning, son? So, but yeah, you in defense, that's a no go.
Yeah, that's my weak point, so I need to definitely get better at that. But yeah, I like the things in Road to Glory. I know we're going a little long on this, but like I know you mentioned it last week of like having to use like your time and everything
Mhm.
properly and all of that. I'm curious, like you might be able to answer this because I haven't got there yet. Like when you have your midterms, like how does that all work? Or is it just like if you have enough, like you're able to keep your GPA up?
Well, and I think it fluctuates now, and it may depend on, because I was giving the right answers. I focused on studying, but then all of a sudden, I guess they had to simulate some drama because it's just like, all right, you didn't do so well on these last tests, and I'm like, when did you ask me if I wanted to? Because my GPA was pretty high, and then it's like you got to make sure you're studying for midterms, and I passed, but it was just like heavy study, partly study, no study at all. I'm just like, when did I drop? Like, I don't understand it. Like,
Hmm.
I guess because I had an away game the week before, I guess I went away and didn't probably do all my work. I don't know. There's some stuff that it doesn't explain. All of a sudden, I guess I don't know if it's just like a drama generator that's like, all right, you're picking all the right answers. We need to generate something to give
Yeah.
you. I don't know.
Did
Hopefully,
you
once go ahead.
did you study every week, like at least one energy towards it?
I guess like I didn't know that was an option, but I mean, anytime it came up, I was like choosing
Okay.
the option to do it.
Okay. Yeah, because like every week I'm putting at least one energy towards studying. That
Oh,
way, it's not
oh,
an
you talking
issue
about like
down the road.
you talking about like in the GPA category?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like
no, yeah, I was too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
okay.
thought you meant like choices, like when your phone rang. I was like, I don't remember that often, but no, I always put.
No,
I tried
no.
to make IQ high because to help out, and then also because I'm at an academic school, so I need to have
Mm.
a good GPA.
Is like my GPA at Troy, I have to maintain like a 2.0, I think. I'm at a 3.0, like
I
just
think.
starting out. I'm curious if like depending on the school, if it's higher or not.
Yeah, I think they said for Northwestern, I think it was I don't remember the exact, but it was between a 2.7 and a 2.9.
Okay, so it's higher.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
that's cool. I like that.
I'm sure if you went to like Stanford or Harvard, I'm sure they would make it even,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So,
yeah. Yeah, I like that a little bit of depth to it as
Yeah.
well. So yeah, I've only played a few games. I'm liking it. I haven't put a ton into like NIL stuff. I got like a barber shop wanting,
Yeah.
wanting me to do something, which is totally fine. But gaining the coach's trust and everything, it's just like these little things that I'm liking
Right.
more than I am on dynasty mode, which I think once I get more used to, because I'm also using the new throwing system,
Right.
which I'm having to like figure out because
The kicking
it's
system took me a while to learn because before, like you would use one stick to raise the power and then the other one to like dictate like the meter, like how successful. And this one, it was just me. I'm like, it took me a couple games to realize like, oh, after you pick like the spinning meter, you hold the button to increase the power. That basically is your accuracy. Yeah, I
oh,
didn't realize that. I'm
okay.
just like,
I didn't know that
because when
because
I
like
started my dynasty, my kicker was trash. Because you're like 68, 69 overall, and I'm like, why is this kicker so bad? And then I
yeah.
realized, I'm like, oh, that's how you get the power accuracy. Interesting.
Yeah, they
Okay.
don't explain that. So that makes way
No.
more sense now. Cause
Yeah.
like Nick was kicking it into the end zone, and I'm
Yeah.
like at the 20, just starting out the kick,
Just
and I'm
getting
just
over
like,
the crossbar.
all right, well, I'm saying like on kickoffs, and it would
Oh
like
yeah.
give him a much better field advantage than me. So okay, that makes way more sense now. So
Yeah. So after you pick your range, like you get it on the meter, just hold it. Just hold the kick button.
okay.
You'll see now on kickoffs it'll go slower, but just be careful on the field goal because it goes a little faster.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, guys, that has been what we have been playing. Let us know what you're playing down in the comments below. But we're going to jump into the news this week.
Hmm.
We've got tons of stuff. We've got Xbox killing the 360 marketplace. We've got stuff about Twitch, and we've got Bungie that we'll be getting to a little bit later with we got a trailer tonight. We're going to be looking at Quidditch Champion. So we got an
Hmm.
awesome show for you. So first up, Xbox fans wave goodbye to the 360 marketplace as Microsoft shuts down a 19-year-old storefront.
Didn't even make it old enough to drink. The Xbox 360 marketplace shuts down today, ending nearly 19 years of service. It launched in November of 2005. The marketplace offered a wide array of digital games and add-ons. Notable games disappearing include Aegis Wing, Meteos Wars, and Crimson Alliance. Fans and former Microsoft employee Larry Major Nelson Herb reminisce on social media. Previously purchased games can still be re-downloaded. Some are available via backwards compatibility. And lastly, digital preservationists emphasize the loss of some unique Xbox 360 content. So I know, Zach, like it is a sad day, but all good things must come to an end, as we all know all too well. I know you were huge. You were huge on the Xbox 360 ecosystem during that generation. You played tons of games. Your gamer score was through the roof, pretty much. What was your like? What did you like most about the 360 storefront? Like, just like give me some of your like fond memories.
Well, this was the first time that everybody was being introduced to downloadable games.
Right.
So this was huge. And I remember, going to Troy, being on my own, but being
Hmm.
able to download games onto my console. I remember
Right.
demos were huge back then,
Right.
and getting to just test things out. But one that really like sticks out to me was the DLC for Mass Effect 2, and that was the
Mm.
Shadow Broker
Hmm.
DLC. And I loved that DLC. And because of Xbox's thought process and always kind of leading for the charge of online capabilities, the 360 marketplace was just a fantastic way to get games. And I think that was definitely one reason why I switched to digital sooner than other people,
Hmm.
was because of the 360 marketplace. But yeah, I just remember fondly of DLCs that would come out and being able to grab them on there. I'm glad, I remember having to buy the Microsoft points, like the weird
Oh yeah.
exchange rate and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the UI was pretty good and everything. But
Mhm.
even avatars, being able to buy different avatars, I remember getting I still have it as my avatar on Xbox. It's my dude, but he's dressed up like General Kenobi from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So like just those things in the marketplace. You could also have gotten different UI accessories, because you actually could make your UI look different back then and
Right.
all of that. So I do have fond memories of it, but I'm not playing any of those games now. It's
Right.
like old games old.
Yeah.
I know we kind of look at that, but even like the Gears of War games, you would get a lot of stuff from the marketplace for that. Even again, the avatars. I remember, Gears of War 3 coming out,
Mhm.
and getting the Lancer in the avatar shop, or you could make your guy look like he was a locust or whatever.
Mhm.
So yes, 360 marketplace is gone, but Xbox is still making stuff. They're
Oh yeah.
still having a marketplace and everything. I do hate that there are games that are potentially getting lost, but I
Yeah.
know with ROMs and all of that, that they will be in some shape, form, or fashion. But I do agree with like the preservationists that we do need to figure something out on that.
Correct. So, and like you said, this was like the first time we got introduced to DLC and the way to download games. And obviously during the PS4 era, Sony shown a light on indie games and made it like pretty much like made it, put it front and center. But you can argue that 360 started the indie era, because
Hmm.
State of Decay, like the third one's coming out within the next couple of years, and they're touting it as like a huge IP. Like heck, even State of Decay 2, they touted it as like a huge thing for Xbox's lineup. But it started out as just a 360 arcade game. For the
Hmm.
original one, that was a proof of concept, and it was just like, hey, you just want to do like what Walking Dead does, but instead of a mediocre story, like you want like the show, not the Telltale games.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's like, hey, you want to just go around bashing zombies head in and have like objectives, but like not at the expense of like a true story. Here you go, and people ran away with it. So I remember
yeah,
that being like the first big success, and it came out during summer when hardly at that point in time anything released. So they made a huge success, ran away with it, made DLC for it. Now, like I said, decades later, there's a third one on the horizon coming out within the next year or two. So it arguably started the indie craze that we know, and gave these smaller devs a shot, especially in a space when AA games were kind of not being made as frequently anymore as they used to be. So it gave these other people like a spotlight to be like, hey, we make interesting games too. But at the time, it's like, hey, you can only get them to download. Like, and I think that's what stopped a lot of them, is like, hey, we don't have the funds to create thousands of discs, and
yeah.
we don't know what the price point is, because again, we're trying to make a small game. We can't really charge that much for it. And now it's like, hey, we don't have to, we can cut out the middleman and just go straight to this digital storefront.
Yeah, Shadow Complex was another one.
Yeah.
I never played the full game. I just remember playing the demo. I was like,
Hmm.
man, this game looks cool, and it was like a side scroller and all of that. But I want to say that my version of Alan Wake was completely digital.
Yes, I think that was another one where, because they didn't do it episodic, did they?
No, it was all in one
Okay.
thing.
Um, but they just touted it as like TV episodes, like for each chapter. That's what threw me off. That's what made me think that. But anyway, but yeah, no, Alan Wake was originally like, especially I know American Nightmare, I know it's trash, but it was digital only as well. But the original Alan Wake started as digital, and I think and then it came to disc eventually later for 360. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so like a lot of these smaller hits, that come out and were able to be huge, started as digital only.
Yeah, and y- again, it is one of those things that's like you think about it, and it's just like there's so much that has been predicated on this switch, because like
Hmm.
Xbox, they with Xbox Live, we got games online, multiplayer games and everything.
Right.
And then everybody was chasing that afterwards. PlayStation tried to do it and all of that, but it's like Xbox has definitely pushed forward the whole side of that, which I really love. So, there's a lot of good things, but there are some negatives to this. Amy does
Oh
bring
yeah.
up a good point. The further we go online and subscription based content, the more I feel having physical media is important. And I agree. Like Crunchyroll is one of the worst ones about this,
Yes.
because they continue to gobble up Western side of anime, and then they will take shows off and you can't find it anywhere.
Yep.
And it's just like,
what you doing?
yeah, and it's like, okay, do I have to go buy physical versions of this? Like I have majority of like Dragon Ball Z, physical and everything, but it's just like, and we're seeing it more and more. There was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game that came out from a light's blinking on me. I was like, what's going on over here? I was like, what is this blinking light going on? But like I remember it on the PlayStation 4, and it got taken off of the site and everything. You can't get it. So it's interesting for sure.
Yeah.
So I know Murdoch put a question in here. This is not one of our articles, but I thought it was interesting enough to bring up. I did just look it up real quick.
Okay.
He asked, did you hear about Kerbal Space Program 2 and Take Interactive and Intercept Games? So this is just quick main points on this. Take-Two Interactive shutters Intercept Games and Roll 7. Intercept Games developer of Kerbal Space Program 2 faces layoffs affecting 70 employees. Roll 7, known for Ali Ali World and Roller Dome, are closing as well. Kerbal Space Program 2 development continues despite Intercept's closure, which I guess is good. Intercy sees widespread layoffs, and we already know that. So thoughts on that? Like, I know a lot of people love Kerbal Space Program. They've kept pushing back Kerbal Space Program 2. So this is kind of a interesting.
Makes me worried that they're just going to pretty much like, it's like, hey, we know you like this game, but we pretty much shuttered the team, but we have to get it out at this point. We spent too much money, and now we're just going to rush it instead of making it good.
Yeah,
but also, it feels like, because I felt like, now granted it was maybe not being reported as much, but I felt like most of the summer, like at least since May, it's been kind of lull on the layoff, and now all of a sudden, like within the last couple weeks, it's just like layoff, shutdown. It's like, bro, it doesn't have to come in waves. It can just stay. It can just stay stagnant.
Yeah, I agree, because last week I was like, oh, I was literally thinking on the drive home because of the Bungie news breaking, and I was like, we haven't talked about layoffs in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then here we go again. It's happening again. Murdoch also says, we think they're holding on to the IP for a later release or update. So I'm going to read a full statement from Take-Two regarding this. On April 16th, Take-Two announced a cost reduction program to identify efficiencies across its business and to enhance the company's margin profile. While we're still investing for growth, as part of these efforts, the company is rationalizing its pipeline and eliminating several projects in development and streamlining its organizational structure, which will eliminate headcount and reduce future hiring needs. You got to love that. You got to love when they're just like, oh yeah, this is why. The company is not providing any additional details on this program. On April 18th, Private Division successfully launched Moon Studios' No Rest for the Wicked. The label continues to make updates on the Kerbal Space Program 2 and plans to release Weta Workshop's Game Studios' Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game, in the second half of 2024. So,
the Mecca.
Yeah.
Boo hiss. Like, and Murdoch's like pipeline, streamline, blah blah. It's like the buzzwords,
Yeah, like this is all just This is all just corporate speak.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I
Thoughts
hate it
go
for
out to everyone affected.
yeah, 100%. Like I hate when, one, it's like the fans are being affected, but of course, like we're also seeing so many people lose their jobs in this industry.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk more about that with Bungie and everything, but this sucks. So I definitely wanted to bring it up since Murdoch asked about it and everything. But yeah, reducing future hiring needs.
That's not how you do it.
Yeah.
You hire enough to to make everyone pull equal weight. You don't reduce it
No, but we're going to reduce it so somebody has to work even harder
for the same pay.
for probably. Yeah, well, we'll hire somebody that has less skills, make them work more, and it's going to be a crappier product.
And then even better, you wait for the punchline. When they get trained up and they become a proficient at their job and they get their big britches on and come demanding a big hefty raise, we're going to let them go and say reducing hiring needs.
Yeah, we're just going to do that while the CEOs just keep rolling in the dough and the shareholders.
Yep. And buy their 6th vacation home.
Yeah. Speaking of 6th vacation home, Amazon's Twitch is reportedly at risk for becoming a zombie brand, and Amazon is still looking to see if it's profitable.
So Twitch remains unprofitable after nearly 10 years with Amazon. Insiders fear Twitch could become a, quote, zombie brand like Goodreads. Concerns grow over potential future further layoffs post-annual review. U.S. web traffic, ad sales, and user growth have stagnated. Big spenders are cutting back, risking $250 million in lost revenue by 2025. And lastly, Amazon remains confident in Twitch's potential despite challenges. So I'm of two minds on this, right? In one sense, I get it because like they're seeing it's stagnated / declined because, and you could start it by maybe I think was like 5 years ago when Ninja jumped ship, like when some of their biggest like some of their biggest streamers decided to jump ship and go get bigger money and bigger paydays elsewhere. So you could say that was the start of the decline because all those huge fan bases they've created on that platform went with them. But also you can kind of make like on the other side of the coin, you can kind of make a case that, they're saying it's going to be Goodreads. Now, I don't know what Goodreads is, but I think it's still there. Like people still use it. Now, is it big as it once was? No. But I mean, like it's only a matter of time. Like eventually things will phase out. Like I know Facebook is still going strong somewhat, but eventually that's going to die off just like MySpace. And, like I know TikTok's up in the air with the court case, like what's going to replace that. And I know Threads is slowly starting to take over in place of Instagram. Or is it X? I don't know, something like this. It's one of the replacements.
Twitter.
Yeah.
It's a replacement for Twitter. X, whatever.
So there's always going to be like the next thing, but at the same time, like people still use Twitch, so it has to be like a drastic decline, like less than 50,000 people or like less than 100,000 people use it a day before they consider it like a huge loss. But because it's partnered with Amazon and they're pumping money into it, Amazon wants to be able to keep a profit and make more money than they're spending on it to keep it. So I get that aspect, but also at the same time, it's because probably of Amazon that all these big streamers jumped ship in the first place because they were being stingy with giving them money.
Yeah. Twitch, of course, wasn't owned by Amazon beforehand. It was Justin TV, then came to Twitch, and now it's owned by Amazon for the last 10 years. Hasn't made any money, like we're saying and everything, but I think a lot of the shareholders were looking at COVID, where everybody's indoors, everybody is watching streamers, everybody's doing that, and then they didn't even see profitability during that time, and now there are less people watching. you're having advertisers pull out. Plus, it's like you look at the way Twitch is trying to monetize itself, and it is with ads, and that turns into a user experience that is subpar.
Yep.
You jump onto a stream on Twitch and you're hit with multiple ads before you can ever even see what the person is actually talking about, unless you're subscribed to them. Then you can jump right in. But it's like, what if you're trying to find somebody new and you get hit with an ad? And it's not every time, it's like a 85% of the time when you click on somebody, you're getting hit with an ad.
Right.
So it's like, and on the back end, they're wanting streamers to push ads within their thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, just the whole thing is like they're trying to make money off of ads.
Yeah.
They're not making money off of paid memberships.
No.
When they're taking 50% of everything, 50% of any bits, I understand they've got people on contract and that's how they're trying to pull people over and everything, but it's like they definitely need to figure things out. And by the way, Goodreads is a app that tracks like the books that you've read, you review all of that. But yeah, it's owned by Amazon and they haven't updated it in probably 10-15 years. Like the UI and everything, it's pretty crap. But it is the biggest one out there. There's another one, Fable, which, guys, you can go join us over on Fable right now. We're doing Eat Sleep Anime over there. We're finishing up our watch through of Delicious and Dungeon. But back to the story, I think there's so many other like YouTube is a much better experience.
Yeah.
Viewership wise.
Now, granted, the ads are just as invasive as Twitch, honestly, but it's worse because I watch YouTube on my television, like when I'm eating dinner and whatnot. So I can't, it's very rare to skip it, but I've found a hack because my MacBook, they have the touch bar and I can just take it and go zoop, zoop, or just go to, just bypass it. I can just, do that. I found that little trick on my computer, but I can't do that on my TV. So, but still, it's just like, I'm just like, bro, like, especially when and it's even worse when I'm on a longer video. And then it's like, all right, we're going to make you go through 55, like a minute's worth of ads. I'm like, bro, stop.
Yeah.
So, but at least it's tolerable with YouTube.
Yeah. And like, if you do premium, which I know like Twitch has its own version of that as well, but you across the whole board, you don't get any ads. And, whatever channel that you're watching, if a premium viewer watches it, you actually make more money off of that person, which is nice. But all that being said, like, I don't think Twitch is going to be profitable. I think it's a money pit because it's like, yes, you are trying to get big people on there. You're going to have to pay to keep them there. I know that they've done a lot of things to like, oh, well, you can stream multiple places or you can do this and that. But it's like to keep people there, you've got to have the talent. And a lot of people have gone to YouTube. There's people over on Kick as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like Amazon is not ready to give up on it, but they have made serious reductions over the last year to staff and everything. But I think they need to figure out different ways to monetize. I also think that they need to figure out just better policies because like they've had some weird policies over there. And I just think that the mainstream doesn't know what Twitch is. Like if I was talking to somebody and it's like, unless they were into watching streamers, but like, oh yeah, I stream on Twitch. They'd be like, what's Twitch?
Right.
But I say, hey, I make videos or I stream on YouTube. Boom. They know what it is. It's the mind share. It's just like people know what YouTube is. People don't know what Twitch is. It's like, oh, do you have an iTwitch? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's I think they need to market better. And they need I don't know if VOD content is necessarily the thing that they need to do. I know they've introduced like shorts essentially over there. kind of like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, but it's like they need to figure out a way to get people onto the platform easier.
Yeah, true. Like more of what's the terminology? I can't think of it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like pretty much, like not welcoming, but pretty much like more. I don't know. There's a business term for it, but I can't remember it now. Of course.
Yeah. So only time will tell. But 10 years is a good while to go, and they don't have venture capitalists pouring money into this. This is Amazon,
Yeah.
and just like with Xbox. Microsoft is looking at Xbox and they're saying, hey, you need to start making money. And I feel like, yes, Amazon's like, hey, we still believe in this, which I think that will buy them another 5 years at max. And then we'll see some major shifts over there. There might not be any content creators that are getting deals over there.
True.
So only time will tell. But guys, you know what you can get for free right now? You can get for free a nice old subscription to the Nerd Cave News podcast. Guys, we got a podcast version of the show. It's available on Spotify, iTunes, and all the podcast services around the globe. So go over there, make sure you subscribe, make sure that you give us a 5-star review. That's how the algorithms work on podcast services, is the more 5-star reviews are given, the more people will watch and listen and all of that. So please go help us out. Go subscribe over there and leave us a review. It helps us so much. And if you are wanting to, like, I don't use Spotify, Zach, I don't use Apple Podcast or whatever they're called these days, I use YouTube. Well, YouTube has a service called YouTube Music, which has all the podcasts over there. You can subscribe to us, Nerd Cave Network, here on YouTube. It helps us out a ton. So there you go. Go support us, guys. 5 stars, or Derek will come to your house in the middle of the night and say, Pierre, that's some stinky cheese. And that's what he's going to do, guys. I can't help what Derek does on his free time. All right. He's either watching anime or he's scaring people in the middle of the night, telling them that they have stinky cheese.
I mean, that's a lie because your boy's sleeping because he's got to be at work at 4 a.m.
Nah. I know you, Derek. I know you.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
I know you. Exactly. Stinky cheese. Stinky cheese.
We don't like stinky cheese around here.
I don't eat cheese, but I know Derek really loves his stinky cheese because he's a Green Bay
cheese, then yes,
he's a Green Bay Packer.
Yeah, you're right. Say it with your chest.
Pack. Speaking of sports, Harry Potter Quidditch Champions gets its first gameplay trailer and will launch on PS Plus. That's big.
Yeah,
that's big. Let's check out this trailer, Derek.
Attention, students! The day so many of you have been waiting for is here. The path to the Quidditch World Cup begins now.
Oh, we're actually doing the World Cup. That's dope.
Wow.
Careers will take you to larger
single player career mode too.
As you compete for
oh, those are cool.
If you're looking for even more competition as you sharpen your skills, you'll find there are many ways to compete against the best of the best. With enough hard work, talent, and practice, who knows? You may end up on the world stage competing for the most prestigious...
Game doesn't look bad.
No, it's definitely stylized, but I like it.
Right.
Crumb.
When it comes to wider competition, you may come across some well-known...
Potter.
Cho.
And yes,
oh, we can create our own.
Right.
That's cool. Oh, we got like the headdress.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough chit chat. Now get to your brooms and get to work.
I wonder, like, if you are going to like September 3rd. Okay.
And man. Huh. It'll come to anything, but available from day one with PlayStation Plus. That's crazy.
I wonder if that is
The multiplayer only.
well, I'm wondering what version of PlayStation Plus.
Oh, that's also a
not
good point.
them not saying like premium extra or whatever kind of
Yeah.
makes me feel like it's going to be just base and they're doing the Rocket League thing.
Yeah.
But in stores November 8th.
Yeah. So that's probably the physical version. So I'm
Yeah.
sure the digital will launch September 3rd, the physical September or November 8th. So, and I could also see them doing, because it's now, even though Jim Ryan's no longer there, his spirit is still there for the time being. There's a year grace period where his spirit still lingers there. I could see them doing, hey, you just want to play the multiplayer, you can get it in base PS Plus, but if you want to get the complete game, you have to buy extra premium. Because I feel I feel it in my bones. They're not going to just give this game away like that, because Rocket League can attest. It's like we lost too much money on that.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like it's very. I don't know. Only time.
I mean, and also it's like the game. Yes, while it did look good, like they could also see it as like, hey, maybe we're not making this a super huge game, so maybe we can just get away with doing it on the entire thing on Plus. So I don't know.
True. I don't know, dude. Only time will tell with this, because
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to be like, if it does come just to regular, I will be very, very excited, because
True.
that is a huge get for sure. So one person that I'm really hoping we get to see as a character on this, he appears in the first and second movie of Harry Potter, and that is Marcus Flint.
Right.
This is my favorite Quidditch player out of them all, is Marcus Flint. He's the best. What can I say, Derek?
That's a face only a mother could love.
Just like this is out of the first movie. Y'all need to go watch the match between Gryffindor and Slytherin, because this dude, he looks like he walked into a broom closet. But yeah.
he hit every branch on the ugly tree.
But yeah, I want Marcus Flint. Put Marcus Flint in the game, guys. I need it so bad.
If they do, you need to use your first career mode as him.
Oh, I totally would. Because there's like one line that he says, I'm trying to find it. He's like essentially like he's like trying to like beat people up.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
He's pretty much the hitman.
Yeah, those teeth. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the game. I think it'll be fun just to try out and see what the game is like.
Right.
Is it something that I would necessarily put money at? I don't know yet. I've got to.
Yeah.
We got to see more about it before because that's one trailer, but only time will tell. September 3rd. Yeah, it pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Oh yes, take that sword. Like that's how he says it, Derek. It's like take that sword, and it's like whoa,
like a drunken pirate.
Yeah, it's like all right. So yeah, Harry Potter Quidditch. Y'all check it out, guys. Y'all let us know what your thoughts on that. Now we're going to jump into topic of the show, which is surrounding the Bungie layoffs that happened yesterday. And how we're going to do this is we're going to read Well, Derek's going to read the entire letter that Pete Parsons put out announcing that they're letting go of several employees. So it's a little bit lengthy, but this gives us full context of what happened, what transpired. That way we can dive into the meat of this. So just kind of wanted to preface that before we jumped into it. It is going to be a little bit of a read, but it will give both of us full context of what happened. So Bungie lays off 200 employees, announces plans for deeper integration with Sony.
So let me take a swig of water here and then get ready for this, because it's going to be a dive. So this morning, I'm sharing with all of you some of the most difficult changes we've ever had to make as a studio. Due to rising costs of development and industry shifts, as well as enduring economic conditions, it has become clear that we need to make substantial changes to our cost structure and focus development efforts entirely on Destiny and Marathon. That means beginning today, 220 of our roles will be eliminated, representing roughly 70% of our studio's workforce. These actions will affect every level of the company, including most of our executive and senior leader roles. Today is a difficult and painful day, especially for our departing colleagues, all of which have made important and valuable contributions to Bungie. Our goal is to support them with the utmost care and respect. For everyone affected by this job reduction, we will be offering a generous exit package, including severance, bonus, and health coverage. I realize all of this is hard news, especially following the success we have seen with the final shape. But as we've navigated the broader economic realities over the last year, and after exhausting all other mitigation options, this has become a necessary decision to refocus our studio and our business with more realistic goals and viable financials. We are committing to two other major changes today that we believe will support our focus, leverage Sony's strengths, and create new opportunities for Bungie talent. First, we are deepening our integration with Sony Interactive Entertainment, working to integrate 155 of our roles, which is roughly 12%, into SIE over the next few quarters. SIE has worked tirelessly with us to identify roles for as many of our people as possible, enabling us together to save a great deal of talent that would otherwise have been affected by the reduction in force. Second, we are working with PlayStation Studios leadership to spin out one of our own incubation projects, an action game set in a brand new science fantasy universe, to form a new studio within PlayStation Studios to continue its promising development. This will be a time of tremendous change for our studio. Let's unpack how we ended up in this position. It's important to understand how we got here. For over 5 years, it has been our goal to ship games in 3 enduring global franchises. To realize that ambition, we set up several incubation projects, each seated with senior development leaders from our existing teams. We eventually realized that this model stretched our talent too thin too quickly. It also forced our studio support structure to scale to a larger level than we could realistically support, given our 2 primary products in development, which are Destiny and Marathon. Additionally, in 2023, our rapid expansion ran headlong into a broad economic slowdown, a sharp downturn in the games industry. Our quality missed with Destiny 2 Lightfall, and the need to give both the final shape and Marathon the time needed to ensure both projects deliver at the quality our players expect and deserve. We were overly ambitious, our financial safety margins were substantially exceeded, and we began running in the red. After this new trajectory became clear, we knew we had to change our course and speed, and we did everything we could to avoid today's outcome. Even with exhaustive efforts undertaken across our leadership and product teams to resolve our financial challenges, these steps were simply not enough. As a result, today we must say goodbye to incredible talent, colleagues, and friends. This will be a challenging time at Bungie, and we'll need to help our team navigate these changes in the weeks and months ahead. This will be a hard week, and we know that our team will need time to process, to ask questions, and to absorb this news. Today and over the next several weeks, we will host team meetings and town halls, team breakout sessions, and private individual sessions to ensure we are keeping our communication open and transparent. Bungie will continue to make great games. We still have over 850 team members building Destiny and Marathon, and we will continue to build amazing experiences that exceed our players' expectations. There will be a time to talk about our goals and projects, but today is not that day. Today, our focus is on supporting our people, Pete. So my initial thoughts from this is, cool. they are being open and transparent about it. They are, it's not just like, hey, cutting. It's not just when like Microsoft laid off all those people at Activision and at Bethesda and closed those studios. They're just like, yeah, sorry, we just got to let you go. Creative differences and all that, garbage. They gave a very thought out, and like they broke it down to the teeth, to the pretty much, or actually to the studs of why they had to do what they did. They exhausted all options. Now, again, there's always three sides to every story nowadays: yours, theirs, and the actual truth. Now, whether this was actually the truth or not, we'll find out years down the road. But at the same time, this actually feels like a heartfelt, like, man, we tried. Like, we really tried. We did not want to have to let go of 220 people, but there was just no feasible way to do this without having to. And they even go on to say, it's like, look, Sony saved another 150 jobs that we could have had to potentially lay off. So it could have been more than, could have been over like 370, like what was it, 370? So almost 400 jobs that they could have potentially laid off. At the same time, I don't know. It's never a good thing to have layoffs, especially of this magnitude. Like, yeah, at face value, 17% doesn't seem like a lot, but when you get down to the brass tacks and say it's like over 200 people, it's like, that's a lot. And granted, yes, they are taking care of them with bonuses and packages, and they're taking care of the people who are affected by this. At the same time, still sucks. So I want to let you get your initial thoughts, but I do have a question for you.
Okay.
But I'll let you speak your initial thoughts.
This is just hogwash. Like, this is. Okay. I feel like, okay, yeah, you have, did everything in your power. No, you didn't. Did you cut your salary?
Fair.
Did you, it's like, oh, executives and all of this. It's like, what about C-suite?
Yeah.
What about, reducing the amount that you're getting paid so people can keep their jobs?
Mm-hmm.
And I know we'll get into the next part is kind of about this, but that's kind of my take on, like, we look at so many, and I know that's not the answer for everything. Sometimes you do have to cut back. You do have to make hard decisions, but there's more going on here than just a restructure and letting people go. I think there is some big things happening, and I want to break that down here in just a minute, but I did want you to ask your question.
Well, so I'm gonna pose it, but if you want to read the next section to further get more detail into it, we can, but let me pose the question. So Sony bought Bungie several years ago. And Bungie, now who knows when this started, right? Like, official, like when they started realizing, like, oh, like, because I know Marathon's exclusive, like, who knows when the incubation period was for this, and they've got some third mysterious sci-fi game in the works. They could have all of them been doing this before PlayStation even came knocking on the door. So who knows? They could have been going in the red, and Sony tried to save them from going in the red. Yeah. My question to you is, and now, yes, and for Sony's side of this, they're trying to navigate this. Oh, we're going to go live service, but now we're kind of figuring out, like, maybe no, we don't go full live service, all this kind of thing. And now with all this stuff at Bungie going on, who do you think regrets the decision more? But Sony buying Bungie or Bungie agreeing to sign with PlayStation?
Well, that kind of brings me to what I wanted to talk about next is what's going on. But
yeah, we can go there before you answer.
Okay, so let's go over to the old Twitter. Till Jeff Grubb's account. He tweeted out on the 31st yesterday. Herman Holst runs Bungie now. Also, Also, they attempted to soften the blow by sending many people from Bungie to SIE instead of just cutting them. I thought the number of jobs lost was going to be closer to 350, which it was 200. So they sent 150 essentially over to SIE. He went on and said, I'll put it as far as I know, which isn't everything by a long shot. In meantime, Bungie will lose its autonomy and will become like any other PlayStation worldwide studio under SIE and Herman Holst.
Mm.
So I know that when they first signed on and everything, it was going to be Bungie is autonomous. They're,
Mhm.
they're not going to be ran by Sony essentially or whatever. They're going to be their own
Mm.
thing. But now it's like, okay, I think this was happening potentially for a while.
Yeah.
But I think this is now like the coffin being nailed shut
Yeah.
for them. So, I don't know who regrets it more. Back to your question.
Yeah.
I don't think Sony necessarily regrets it because they do have them as a resource. I know they were leaning
Right.
heavy on them with live service games, which
Mhm.
clearly their live service games aren't making money.
No.
It's like even when they were at Activision, they were being pressured to put more monetization in the game. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to leave. They take Destiny. And then they're like, okay, well, now we're going to sell ourselves to Sony. And
Yeah.
then, Sony's like, well, you sell it to us, we going to own you, boy. You know what I mean?
And you bring up that fact, it's like, oh, we're not going to do this. Where have I heard this before? Xbox. They're saying like telling Activision all that they want to hear, and the FTC all they want to hear. Basically they're saying like, oh, we're not going to do this, and then after it happens, it's like, gotcha.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
go from one master to another. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's all Bungie has done, and I feel like Bungie's lost their way compared to where they
For
were
sure.
during the Halo days, because a lot of those people have left.
Yeah.
It feels like corporate shield at this point.
Yeah.
So it sucks because I love old Bungie, and I know so many people do because of the products
Mhm.
that they made and everything. But let's dive into the next section of
Mhm.
this. Herman Holst, them taking over and everything. A lot of
Yeah.
people are calling for Bungie leadership to step down after the
Yep.
layoff announcements. And a lot of this is because of the CEO,
Yeah.
Pete Parsons. So, Derek, jump into it.
So the layoff has been met with significant negative reactions. A major point of criticism is the leadership, particularly targeting CEO Pete Parsons. Parsons locked his Twitter account immediately after the layoff announcement, which drew criticism. He later removed the private setting after being called out, displaying wealth. Allegedly showed off his car collection to employees 2 days before the layoffs, criticized for continuous extravagant spending on cars, even after Bungie's previous major layoff. Facepalm. PlayStation acquisition timing. Critics pointed out that Parsons purchased 20 classic cars around the time of PlayStation's acquisition of Bungie. And then lastly, the public image, referred to as a quote joke by a former employee. Calls for Parsons to resign or retire have surfaced under his social media activity related to the layoffs. Woof. Talk about egg on face, like face
Mm-hmm.
palm so hard. It's like now with, and of course, it's one thing for the general employee to not know the layoffs are coming to the last minute,
Yeah.
but the higher ups know, like especially if you're the CEO, this is coming. So to put out there, like especially like to put out this statement and saying, "Oh, we tried everything and blah 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 blah," and then it's like, "Hey, look at my cool car collection." Like 2 days before, I'm like,
Gonna
"Brother,
fire you in 2 days.
right?" It's like, "Hey, look what you'll never have." Like read the room, like have some empathy, like don't be buddy buddy and then stab him in the back 2 days later. Like that's just a bad look, no matter how you slice it. And is it justified to call for his job? After reading this, I kind of agree with him. Like you should step down, or at least have taken a massive, like donate some of your classic cars to keep some of the employees that you laid off, my guy. Like, come on. Um, I don't know. It's just no matter how you dice it, it's a bad look.
Yeah, 100%. Like, this is clearly somebody that is out of touch with the working man.
Right.
Dealing with this kind of person is difficult because they don't see the world the same way.
Yeah.
They see it like a shareholder. It's like, hey, because all of this is predated by the Final Shape doing really well.
Right.
We haven't even talked about that. The Final Shape made good money, and then we're hit with layoffs over at Bungie.
Mm.
And it's like, this dude is super out of touch. He does, like, I thought you nailed it perfectly. Empathy. This dude does not have empathy. Like, he does not know what's going on. And it's like, hey, come look at my cars. Ah, ha, ha, ha. And it's like, by the way, we're firing you 2 days later. And it's just like, that sucks. It's like,
and it's even more of a slap in the face if it was an employee that they were laying off. Say, hey, look what you'll never have. Well, actually, I don't know. It might even be worse. It might even be worse is if he was going to a person who wasn't getting laid off, that was with a group of people that were getting laid off. It's like, hey, man, look at the car I just bought.
Well, the people that were getting shown the cars were laid off.
Ugh,
from what the report said and everything. But yeah, like all of this being said, yes, like I know a lot of people are calling for him to resign, retire, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yes, that is public sentiment. Look at Bobby Kotick.
I was literally going there. I'm like, now he is not Bobby Kotick in the terms of he let it run like a boys' frat house, essentially, and it's still the corporate overlord, like, jerk move.
Yeah, 100%. But that dude didn't retire, resign. Like his company literally had to be bought, and then his golden parachute finally got activated.
Yeah.
Like he got paid money, and Bobby Kotick, if he wants to go work some more and make some more money, he will totally get on as another CEO somewhere else.
Oh,
but
yeah. CEO of GameStop.
Yeah. I think Netflix, he would be picked up for their game division. But
oh yeah,
Parsons, on the other hand, like, yes, he's going to be the CEO, but Herman Hulst taking over and them becoming more of an actual PlayStation studio. I think there's about to be a major shakeup at Bungie. And I think within the next month or two, Parsons might still be at Bungie, but he won't be the necessary CEO.
That whole situation's like, going back to football for a minute, it's like when you have an offensive-minded head coach who calls all the plays, the offensive coordinator is just there to fill a job. But the head coach is really the offensive coordinator. So this is pretty much that same situation.
Yeah. So again, I don't think that the way he's done things are good. I don't think, I am at least glad that Sony had the foresight to bring, employees over and create a new studio to keep a project and keep as many employees as possible, 150 of them essentially.
Yeah.
But it's like, we need better management. I think that's where a lot of this comes down to, is you cannot keep thinking that it is lockdown times where people are spending money and they're playing games or watching TV, because we see it across the entertainment industry all over. Same thing with any industry, actually.
Yeah.
True. It's like everybody assumes that people has got all of this disposable income, and they don't. I know I don't. You know what I mean? It's like I don't have enough money to pay attention sometimes. But it's like, when you think of it, it's like all of these shareholders like, let the good times roll. And they bloat everything. And then all these people get houses, they get places, all that stuff they get sent in. And then it's like, oh, we got to let you go. And it's like, that is super devastating.
It is. So and again, it all comes down to, and it's sort of like Vegas. They sell you on having a good time, but they don't tell you at what cost. You know, and they're just like, oh, look, sparkling big fireworks, flashy lights, all that. Like, don't worry that it's like a $500 cover charge just to even get in the building. Don't ignore that part, but have a good time. It's like, and it's like, hey, we're gonna have you go far, kid. Far to the parking lot after we make enough money to let you go.
Yeah, and we're gonna pop your kneecaps before you get out there.
But hey, look at my cool cars.
Yeah, look at my cars, guys. Look at my cars. Guys, I want you to look at the PlayStation Quickies now. Check them out. Look at them. They're really cool.
You won't see them again after today. PSVR 2 app set for August 6th release on Steam. Concord Limited Edition DualSense now available for pre-order in the US. Firewalk Studios reveals new series of Concord animated shorts called Free Gunner Adventures. Gran Turismo 7 dev investigating issue that sees cars being blasted into the stratosphere. PlayStation reveals new limited edition Astrobot DualSense controller arriving alongside the game. And I'd say it looks pretty sleek. Obviously not the best one they've done, but it's pretty sleek. Fire Sprite's next game after Horizon Call of the Mountain will be a, quote, dark story-driven narrative according to a job listing. PS Plus Essential games for August have been revealed. This month, you're going to get Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga for the PS5 and PS4, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach for the PS5 and PS4, and lastly, Ender Lilies Quietus of the Nights for the PlayStation 4.
Boom. I love that they're just continuing to try to push Concord, guys.
At least I will say the controller they did for Concord doesn't look bad. Doesn't look better than the Astrobot one, but it doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
The Astrobot one looks really cool.
Yeah.
Guys, it's time for the Patreon Quick Hits. The Patreon Quick Hits are brought to you by our wonderful patrons. You can go support us over on patreon.com/nerdcave. You get your very own NerdCave membership and help us continue to make awesome shows like this one, Car Thoughts, Eat, Sleep, Anime, and all the other cool things that we make here. So become part of the ship, part of the crew over on patreon.com/nerdcave. If you don't have any dollars to toss, that's totally fine as well. You can join over on our free tier over on Patreon and you get some nice bonus perks over there. So go check those out. Now it's time, Derek, for the Patreon Quick Hits.
Starting off, Activision reportedly sold AI-generated cosmetic for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Crimson Desert confirmed to be playable at Gamescom. Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon has surpassed 3 million copies sold. SAG-AFTRA members will strike after failing to reach a deal over AI protections. Following that, GTA 6 will not be impacted by the SAG-AFTRA strike. EA CEO says video game actor strikes won't have, quote, short-term impact on the company. BioShock movie is still in development, but Netflix is scaling it back to offer a more personal point of view. Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl hit with another delay, and now instead of September, it's now going to be launching November 20th. Dragon Age The Veilguard is verified for Steam Deck. Following that, Veilguard will feature 700 characters and over 140,000 lines of dialogue. Valve lets players post user reviews for demos. Remnant 2's third and final DLC, The Dark Horizon, has been revealed. Fortnite is leaving the Samsung Galaxy Store, but coming to other mobile storefronts soon. Marvel Rivals closed beta adds Jeff the Landshark and Thor. New Dynasty Warriors Origins details and gameplay revealed includes the largest number of soldiers in series history. Paradox Interactive CEO acknowledges mistakes and says, quote, "We made the wrong calls in several projects." Bethesda trademarks Starborn, sparking speculation about possible Starfield DLC. Gearbox boss Randy Pitchford teases a second Borderlands film. Following that, Pitchford says fans will, quote, "be very, very happy with what's next for Borderlands." Castle Crashers is getting Steam DLC over a decade after release. Actor Tony Pankhurst, the face of the curator in the Dark Pictures anthology, has passed away. Rest in peace. Some launch model Xbox One consoles are reportedly failing to download firmware updates. Visions of Mana demo is now available. Bow Path of the Teal Lotus console updates in flux due to Humble Games layoffs. Suda51 and Shinji Mikami are interested in making a Killer 7 Complete Edition and sequel. Microsoft reveals transparent controller, the Sky Cipher Special Edition, and will be releasing on August 13th. Star Wars Outlaws lets players turn off yellow paint via Explorer mode. Fallout TV show spurred a near 5 times jump in hours played for the franchise on Game Pass. Xbox hardware revenue down 42% from last year as Activision acquisition continues to boost content sales. Mafia Definitive Edition is coming to Game Pass on August 13th. Games Workshop and Amazon have until December to agree, quote, on creative guidelines for Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40K film and TV series, or it won't happen. Activision secretly turned off skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty as an experiment, and players hated it. Jonathan Blow says Braid Anniversary Edition sales have quote been terrible. Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns expansion brings new story content, characters, and more. And lastly, Amy Hennig's Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra will be published by PlayOn.
Man, some Castle Crashers getting DLC. Dude, I remember playing that with Travis in his room in our apartment my first year of college.
Yeah.
I love Castle Crashers though.
Yeah.
But my God, that's a super long time ago. Yeah. And then I'm hoping that Warhammer will happen.
Yeah.
You know, put a 5 in chat if you want to see that. I know Henry Cavill is like super big into it, so I think it would be awesome. 2 more, and then I want to jump into to something that Nate brought up in the chat. But Microsoft seeing 42% less sales on consoles. But this fits right into kind of their model.
Yeah.
Everything is Game Pass.
Correct.
The Xbox is on Amazon. You can buy an Xbox-less Xbox package where you get a little thing you plug into your TV and you get a controller and it hooks up to it, and it's just essentially a thumbstick Xbox Game Pass thing.
So what you're saying is it's turning into what was that one you hated? There was the streaming. It was pretty much the same concept. Just stick a stick in your TV. It was like streaming games straight to it. Ubisoft supported it a lot.
Are you talking about Stadia?
Yeah, Stadia is like, it sounds like very much like Stadia is what you're saying.
Yeah, but xCloud is great. Like I have no qualms about xCloud, but it's like, you're seeing a decline because they're not pushing consoles. You can play everywhere. That's their whole thing. But they are seeing an uptick in sales because of the Activision acquisition with, all of that. So I just wanted to bring that up. I know that a lot of people had talked about that this week, but Amy Hennig's Marvel 1943, like, are you excited about this game?
I will be once we see more of it, because we haven't seen it in a very long while. So I know the last time we saw it, it looked intriguing. It looks promising. Now, will the story be great? Of course. I'm more concerned of like making sure that they don't screw her over again, and making sure she's writing the story she wants to tell, not the story that the company wants to tell, just to move units. So how about this? Am I over the moon for it? Like an old war hero story? Not really. I mean, yes, it's superheroes versus just like a war shooter, which has been done to death. But at the same time, I'm not over the moon about it. But again, good story will catch me.
Yeah. There was a tech demo like a month or 2 ago of it, and dude, the tech that they've got in this thing looks amazing. And they showed a little bit of a fight and like some dialogue and everything, taking mask off, putting them on, all of this kind of stuff. It looks really, really good. I think the story will be fantastic. So I am excited about this, which I haven't been excited about Marvel stuff or really superhero stuff in a while. Yeah. So that does bring me to a comment. Apparently Mikey said this, but he said, what did y'all think about the RDJ announcement? So for the ones that don't know, Robert Downey Jr. has been cast as a new Marvel entity, and he will be playing Dr. Doom in the next Avengers game. So Avengers movie. Avengers movie. So Derek, when I saw this, I was just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
What was your take? I'm curious.
So I did like the reveal of it. And, I did go like, what? Because I am a huge RDJ fan. Like, obviously, like, he's the reason the MCU, he got me into the MCU. He's the reason I stuck around for the Infinity Saga. And all that. Like, he pretty much made that franchise. Now, when I saw this, my initial thought was, cool. He is back in this universe. We know what we're getting from him. It's going to be great. And I know they've also brought back the Russo brothers who directed Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
The last two Avengers movies, and they're going to direct both Doomsday and Secret Wars coming out in the next couple of years. However, my cause for concern comes with the fact on two fronts. One is just for Marvel in general. It's the fact of like, we are now, yes, they are still navigating how to bring MCU to the TV market and how to interconnect the TV shows with the movies and blah, 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 blah. And also, of course, when you introduce the multiverse saga, that's your easy out. It's like, and even though it's been 5 years, spoilers for Endgame, you have 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. At the end of Endgame, they killed Iron Man. So you're thinking, all right, RDJ is done. He's capped out. He's capped out like he was capped out when Endgame launched anyway for his pay scale. So you're like, all right, he's told his story. He's done a great character arc. He's done. And now that you're bringing it back, it's like, oh, how is that possible? Oh, multiverse. Like, here we go. Here's all the loopholes we can create with this. And that was my thing. And that's been my thing since, because I haven't watched the last couple movies. My last one I saw was Ant-Man 3. But my whole concern with the multiverse when I saw the first couple of films with it was they're just doing this for cameos. Like they're going to sacrifice the story for easy cameos and pops that fans are going to be like, oh my God. Yeah. And to an extent that's cool. Like Spider-Man Homecoming or Far From Home or No Way Home, excuse me. Yeah. Spider-Man No Way Home was a really cool testament. Like it was done right. But then you also have the other side, which was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where it had cool moments, but it also sacrificed the story, in my opinion, a lot. So I think for Marvel, they are pretty much hitting the go back to safe mode, like go with the devil. Well, I shouldn't say the devils, but just for lack of turn of phrase, the devils, it's like, all right, Russo's did good. RDJ is a good actor for us. They all know what we want, what we expect. Maybe they can right the ship. My concern with RDJ is not doubting his acting skill. And I know like stuff surfaced that when the old school, like the early 2000s Fantastic Four movies dropped, he was auditioning for Dr. Doom then. Get that. My concern for him is because of how he's acted with MCU and how MCU does their humor. I don't want to see, because he said after it was real, it's like new mask, same task. My thing is like, don't take that too much to heart, because I don't want just a Iron Man version of Dr. Doom. Like Dr. Doom is like a very serious, and yes, Thanos they did make him a very serious character. Like all the humor around Thanos was situational, and it was done by the characters he was fighting, so like, and he like no humor. Thanos wasn't like cracking one-liners, So I think they can, because of the seriousness of Doom, they could potentially do that same way. But it's like, will we just get an Iron Man version, a villain Iron Man, and will we also get like, how will RDJ, because like, can he be a serious character? Because yes, he did have serious moments as Iron Man, but we all see that Tony Stark was like also cracking one-liners, and it would divert, and like especially Iron Man 1 and 2, divert serious conversations with humor. It's like, I don't want to see that rinse and repeat with a major villain like Doom. Yeah. So, and it's like, will his acting chops, or well, I shouldn't question his acting chops, but like, will it allow for that, and will they write him correctly?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, it feels like Amy brought this up. It feels like they're just bringing back a fan favorite character.
Correct.
And Murdoch's like, money.
Yeah.
Please come back and save our genre. Like, right. I 100% agree. And then Nate's like, I think that RDJ is just a move to bring fans back.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
I agree. I feel like it's a little too late because the last set of movies have sucked, like hardcore. Like, I
think the only one that was pretty much a good was Guardians 3, and I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't watched that one. And I don't care to watch it. Like, I really don't like. this and Star Wars, I hate to say it, but I'm kind of over both of them.
Wow. Because I haven't
Ju-
seen any of what was the last TV show
Acolyte.
for Star Wars? Yeah, Acolyte. I haven't seen any of that yet.
Like Disney has pumped this thing dry. Like the udders are shriveled, and this cow has died 6 years ago. Having the Russo brothers coming back, like their best film was Winter Soldier, Captain America,
Oh, yeah.
Winter Soldier. Civil War was good too, but Winter Soldier, great. And bringing back RDJ, I know is a planned move, one, to bring people back. People
Correct.
really didn't care about King, and then having the whole issue with the actor and all that. They're having to make something different here. I don't want this to be Tony Stark 2.0.
Right.
There are a few different versions of Doom that is actually Tony Stark in the multiverse and everything.
Right.
But I want Victor Von Doom. That's who I
Yeah.
want. And since now we are getting a Fantastic Four,
Yes.
it's like that needs to be so like, and I don't feel like,
I think they said, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they said his first appearance will be in Fantastic Four.
okay, that like, I want that. I want that rivalry between Reed Richards and him, you know, wanting Sue, but Sue doesn't want anything to do with him. All of that. Like, I want a good Doom because we have never gotten a good Doom on screen.
True.
It's only been in the comic books that we actually have a good Victor Von Doom. But I hope, like, I love RDJ. I think he's a great actor, but it's pretty much RDJ. He's pretty much Will Smith. He just acts like Robert Downey Jr. in whatever he is.
Yes and no. I mean, Sherlock was way different, though, in my opinion.
Sherlock was different, but like him and Tony Stark, they're the same character, dude.
Yeah.
Like they
I mean,
like,
true. Even the same demons.
yeah, and I feel like this is going to be this could either go really well or this is the swan song of Marvel. Like they are trying, but like people, like most of the people I saw on the internet was like, what? Like people are not excited. You know what I mean?
Like what when was it? Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. My best friend Matt and his wife, you know, they were coming down. They went on a little vacation over the weekend, came down from Huntsville, stopped by and was like, hey, let's get dinner. And that brought up, and even she was just like, yeah, no, he's Iron Man. Like, why are you doing this? No, stop.
Yeah. And you could have cast so many other people, but again, it's that, oh, well, that I remember that was when it was good. So I need to, you know, that's where we're coming out with. It's like, oh, I remember when that was good, and this is the person that it's like. I know Jeremy Ritter has said that he'll probably come back as Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Chris Evans is like, nope, I'm done. He's like, I don't want anything to do with it.
I was just like, you know, it's like, you know, when they first revealed, it's like, all right, if we're going to do this, then Chris Evans will come back as Red Skull. You know, if we're just going to turn all of our iconic heroes to villains, you know?
Yeah. So it's like, okay. And like, I know we've had, you know, Chris Evans has played the Human Torch, and he played, you know, Captain America. And then we've had, you know, several people play multiple, you know, Stan Lee. My God, that dude played so many people in the universe. But it's like, that's not necessarily like a thing that I really care about. It's just like, this is the most iconic person out of all of them that we lost because of the gauntlet and everything.
Right.
And it's like, when these other people have played multiple roles, it was going from a lesser known role to something that developed into something bigger. This is going from the thing that saved his career to like, he's the big one, and now he's coming back, and it's like Ric Flair. So anyone that's watched wrestling, Ric Flair has retired so many flipping times, and when he had his retirement match with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, it was so good. It was heartfelt. And then right before he got Sweet Chin music, Shawn Michaels was like, I love you. Then bang.
Mm-hmm.
And if Ric Flair would have ended right there, it would have been great. But then he came to TNA and he wrestled there, and he's kept wrestling. He literally did a wrestling match last year.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it's like Brett Favre, same thing. You got to know when to hang up the boots.
You got to know when to fold them.
Yeah. And it irks me in a way. Like, I hope it's great. I will watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus. I am not going to the theaters. I'm done with that. Like, the only way you're going to get me into the theater is if Solo Leveling or Demon Slayer, has something in the theaters.
Well, it's funny you should say that. The Demon Slayer will next year.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the only way. But I do want to pull up Dan's. It could be interesting if the work in a scene where Spider-Man encounters RDJ Dr. Doom, and he has his heart broken at the image of his mentor doing things he would never do. That would be good.
I feel like they'll do that in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Or Doomsday, either one. They'll definitely do it in one of the Avengers films for sure.
Yeah, well, and Secret Wars, that's predicated on Dr. Doom.
Yeah, true.
Like, that whole thing is predicated off of him. So I don't know. I feel like it's a little too late. And they were going with Kang, and then they've had to pivot because of real world circumstances.
I like how they make the first Avengers film and the next duology based off the villain, because I know they did Infinity War, but they didn't really reference Thanos. That was more like the Gauntlet. But it's just like, because they were going to call the original one the Kang Dynasty, and this one's Doomsday, and so it's like, okay, so you're sticking with it all together. So at one point I would, because they were talking about recasting Kang, and then I think if RDJ didn't sign up to do Dr. Doom, I think they would have recast Kang, in all honesty, just to stick with it. But because they got him to come back to nope, never mind, let's just rerun it.
Yeah, and for me, it's like you have all this lead up and then it goes nowhere. That's the most disappointing. It reminds me of, there's this mission in KOTOR 2 that it's really good writing, and you're fighting all of these mercenaries, and then it gets to the end of the mission, and then you just find a bloody arm, and then nothing else is said about the mission, and that's the end of it. And it's like, what the crap happened? It's like, what is going on? This is on Nar Shaddaa, so anyone that knows what I'm talking about. But it's just like, what you're just super confused. And I feel like that's what's happening with Marvel. It's like, well, I know there are real world circumstances going on. That is why these decisions are being made. But it's like, you need to come up with a way to do something with that story. That way it's not confusing.
Don't just write them off into the sunset, don't do cheap write-offs like CW shows did there toward the end of its high point.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up, Mikey. Thank you for the question. That way we could talk about it, because it is interesting.
Because I was going to ask you about it after the show, but it's good to have a discussion during the show.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, hey, we'll just we'll use that Marvel one that was at the end. And I was like, that's how I get us into that. Well, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Nerd Cave News. Make sure to go over and support us over on patreon.com/nerdcave and join us over on Fable. We got a nice little club going on right now, and it's great. We're finishing up Delicious in Dungeon. We need to pick a new show to watch, and I'm currently watching Full Metal Alchemist, and I am loving it, guys. Absolutely loving it, and I cannot wait to talk about it on Eat Sleep Anime. Y'all have a wonderful night. Have a great weekend. This has been Zach
and Nightshade.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye-bye.